What's up YouTube? My name is Danelle. Welcome to my channel, and this is my very first video. So I'm going to kick this off by just letting you know what's going to be happening on my channel. So I'm going to be taking you through my journey as I learn to trade Forex profitably and consistently, and as I become a better and more savvy investor. So the main focus to start is really going to be on Forex. This is something that I tried to learn back in 2016. I bought a course, funded an account with about $1,100, and totally blew that account. I think when I called it quits, I had maybe less than $2 in that account, so that was a big L. Then I started up again in August of 2020, and I demo traded for a little bit, got confident, was getting a pretty good win percentage, and so I funded the account with a couple $100 in there, blew that account out. So it definitely has been a bumpy road so far, and I've been practicing since about November on a demo account, and it's been up and down. So I'm really trying to hone in on my strategy and my emotions throughout the trades. So what I'm going to be doing now is really documenting as I trade this demo account, which I'm going to put for $500 in for the demo account, and my goal is to flip it to $1,000. And once I do that, then I'll reassess whether I'm ready to trade live with my real money, or whether I need to start keep practicing. So this is going to be a very bumpy road. I'm going to show you all the wins, all the losses, and even my explanations for why I think trades went bad. In hopes that I will grow, and this will be something I can look back on and see what mistakes I've made and grow from that. And hopefully you'll get something out of it too if you're trying to do something similar to myself, which is to learn Forex or to trade the indices or futures or something like that. A lot of these markets, it's a lot of the same strategies and principles that you apply. So in terms of how I'm going to be trading, so I'm a trend trader. So I'm going to be looking to enter trades that go with the trend. I also trade price action and support and resistance zones. So I'm going to be looking more so at price action. I don't use really any indicators other than moving averages. So I'll be looking to enter at support and resistance zones with the trend. You'll see where I have some trend lines as well. So I'll be looking for multiple confluences to enter trades. And then as far as exiting trades, I'll be looking to either use a trailing stop or a price target. So those are your only two options. And I know that as I continue to trade, that I'll lean towards one or the other. Right now, it's very situational as to what type of exit strategy I use. So let's go ahead and jump into the charts.
But this first trade on GA, I actually, on GA, we're actually in a little bit of an uptrend. From the daily, you can see, and you see we're pulling back. I'm thinking this is a pullback to head higher, but of course that isn't confirmed yet, so we'll see. But I did draw a bit of a trend line, just because we did have a low and a higher low, so I mean a lower low and a lower high. So I drew the trend line to connect the lower highs, and that is what gave me an area of interest here and here, and seeing those price rejections there, and then also seeing the price rejections in this area of support. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 areas where it rejected. Then when price hit my trend line, came back down, I said, okay, this I think will be a good place for me to take a buy. For one thing, I do think this pair could head higher, and it was at an area of support where I had seen previous price rejections, and I thought that, hey, this could actually head back up into this area of resistance again. So I measured everything out, and my original price target was about right here. So it was originally a 3-to-1 risk reward ratio. So I felt pretty good about it. I did wait a little bit until I got confirmation. I actually didn't take this trade until this hammer candle right here where I have it circled. Once I saw that hammer candle, then I said, hey, I can actually get in on this with a relatively low risk for the reward. So I hopped in, but as I took this trade on Thursday evening, and then when I woke up Friday, I was up in a trade, and as I monitored throughout the morning, I saw that I was getting some rejection here at this trend line. So I just said, hey, let me go ahead and take profit because it's Friday and I really don't want to hold this over the weekend since I'm really seeing some hesitation with price at that level already. So I did, and with that I took about 55 pips profit from this trade, so that worked out pretty well. Then the next trade I took was on Friday, and it was the US dollar and the Canadian dollar. And the US dollar, Canadian dollar has been in a huge downtrend for a very long time. I think since March of last year. Yep, March of last year. So there's a trend line that's held up pretty good since last year. So that is an area of interest, obviously, wherever price hits that. So on the 4 hour, you see I have different areas of support and resistance already drawn. Most of these areas have been used as both support and resistance. So what I saw was price pretty much rejects or bounce out of this area. Like it kind of broke through and then bounced up into this area of resistance. But not only that, it actually hits the trend line. So that's when when it started getting up towards that trend line, I knew I wanted to take a sell on this pair. It was low risk. Originally, my price target was down here. So originally it was like a 4-to-1, and I ended up taking about 40 pips on this one. But I think it was a pretty good trade. I mean, it was something like, 30 pips I risked, and I took in 40. Original price target was around 120, but it was Friday, so I knew I was gonna get a good move down. I just didn't know how strong the move would be. So once I saw this this rejection here, back up out of this area, and then got a green candle, I said, hey, I'm not gonna hold this for the weekend. So I just went ahead and took profit, and it worked out pretty well. Obviously, I know staying disciplined and just letting your trade play out. But now, if this was Tuesday, I probably would have held this trade and trailed my stop loss. If this candle here, if it continued down and broke this previous low here, I definitely would have trailed the stop, probably to about there, and just let this trade continue to play out. But 40 pips, plus the 50 pips, so almost 100 pips up on the day. That wasn't too bad at all, so I can't get mad at that. Then the next trade I took was on the British pound and Swiss franc. So with this pair, it's been in the uptrend, so I have my trend line drawn, and then have my areas of support and resistance. You see price bounced off of this trend line, consolidated between these two areas here, broke through very strong, hit a high swing a low, swing low, lower high, lower low, and then it comes back up into this area that was previously support, bounces off of that, back down to the previous level of resistance and also my trend line, and that's where I actually want to take the buy, but that was during the London session and I was not awake at that time, so I missed out on that. But then I saw price break through this area of resistance, and I got a wick at the end of this green candle. Then I got two red candles that aren't necessarily, well, maybe this second red candle is a hammer candle, but this first one wasn't, but it did have a pretty long wick bouncing off of that prior resistance area. So on the next candle, that green candle, I decided it would be, once that was closing, I ended up taking a buy, thinking that price might just continue up, and it very well might. So I ended up closing this because it was getting kind of later in the day, and I thought that price would have moved a little bit more before it got too late in the afternoon. But I closed this trade up about 50 cents or something like that, so not bad. But obviously I would have liked to held it, but I just did not think that would be a good idea to hold through the weekend and possibly have price swing back down and hit my stop loss. Then the last trade I took on Friday morning was this pound dollar, and the pound dollar is also in a pretty good uptrend for quite some time now, and it hit a high. So I have my area of interest here with price bouncing off of this high. You have a swing low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. Then we have a bounce back up off of this area. So this is one area that I did not catch, but you see how this area there was some resistance here, and price came down and bounced back out of this. It's almost like some mini consolidation right in there. So that's probably a zone I could have drawn in, because price bounced off of that prior resistance zone right back up into that previous high resistance zone. So once I saw that, and then I saw that red candle forming, I decided that it would be a good place to take a buy. After price kind of broke down, then I did wait a little bit, and price was kind of hesitating right there. So I waited a little bit, but I ultimately thought, hey, this would be a decent place to take a sell. It was very low risk. I mean, if I had just put my stop, I ended up putting it, what was it, like 30 pips? Yeah, 30 pips up, but because my original price target was going back down into this support area. So, I mean, if I had put my stop just right outside there, I mean, I could have took like a 15 pip and even brought this in to the previous low, and that would have been a good 4-to-1 risk reward. So, I mean, that wouldn't have been too bad either. So, and maybe that would have been a better trade, but I ended up closing this out just because it was getting later in the day and price really hadn't moved towards my target that much, and I didn't want to get stopped out over the weekend. So I closed this trade for, I think I was down about 30 cents. So not bad. Overall up on the day, one losing trade, and everything went well. So that is exciting. I'm really pleased with my first week. I was disciplined enough to stay out of the market for 3 days, in which I know that my one of my barriers to success with this has been over trading. So I'm really trying to be mindful of only entering trades that really meet the criteria that I want to enter a trade on. So overall for the week, starting at 500, I'm up $14.62. So I'm feeling pretty good moving into this next week. Now I know coming up we have President's Day here in the U.S. So at least the stock market will be closed. I know that the Forex market will be open, but I know that it can be a little bit different when there's a holiday here and the banks and stuff are closed. So I don't know how much I'll be trading, but I will do some analysis to see possibly what I might want to do come Tuesday. So yeah, that is all.
So thank you for tuning in to this first video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you hit the like and subscribe button, and even hit that bell if you want to know when I put out my next video, which will be soon. All right, catch you later.